Hi everybody, I'm John and welcome to John's Long Box. Today I'm showcasing Captain Marvel #1. This is not the first appearance of Marvel's Captain Marvel. That was Marvel Superheroes #15. But this is the debut of his own comic. And yes, this is what Captain Marvel looked like. I think it was cool. Gene Colan, the artist, hated it. He hated the character, he hated the costume. It was just an assignment to him. But a little bit of backstory before we get into the comic. As you may or may not know, Fawcett Comics originally created the character Captain Marvel. You know, he's the one that Billy Batson says Shazam and lightning bolt hits him and he turns into the red costume with the yellow lightning bolt. Well, DC sued DC because they said it was too much like Superman. And the lawsuit went from, like 1940 to 1953, and with the comic book scare going on, the Congress taking all the comic book creators to a committee of un-American activities and stuff like that. They Fawcett Comics thought that comic books were done with, so they just stopped fighting and said, "Here, DC, you win. Take the character, whatever." And DC took the name, but they didn't really do anything with them. And then through mismanagement on DC's own part, the name Captain Marvel, the trademark lapsed. So Marvel jumped on it and took the name Captain Marvel. Well, I mean, it's natural. Marvel Comics, you got to have Captain Marvel. So that's how the name came to be owned by Marvel Comics, even though they originally didn't do it. You know, but comic books did that a lot. Daredevil was the name of a 40s hero, and the Vision was another 40s hero, and things like that. So there's been other precedent for this to happen. This is a pretty good condition. So this is Marvel's Captain Marvel, and here let's get into it before I start talking about that. This is a really good condition. Gigantic mural offer. Magnificent original oil painting reproduced in full color. A giant decorator mural. Wow, there you go. Okay, so out of the Holocaust, a hero. So not a lot of people realize that Captain Marvel came out of Dachau. Okay, that's just a poor choice of titles. Out of the Holocaust, a hero. Okay, so Stan Lee mysteriously mulls over a Roy Thomas, Gene Colan classic cataphonic conflagration. Jeez, I can't even say that. Inks by Vince Colletta, who is one of my favorite Jack Kirby inkers. Lettering by Artie Simek, and fire extinguishers by Honest Irv. Irv is Irving Forbush. I talked about him before. He's like the Marvel was trying to get like a mascot, like Alfred E. Newman. It's kind of a bizarre little bit of Marvel history. So here we have Marvel Space. Look at that title. That's the official title. 1967 is the copyright. The comic came out in, I think, 1968, though. Yeah, May 1968. So here we have the story already happening. Stan Lee created the character, and then he wrote him in the Marvel Superheroes, and then gave it over to Roy Thomas. Roy Thomas being one of the new hires. So at this point he was young Roy Thomas. Roy Thomas goes on to become an editor-in-chief when Stan Lee leaves. So Roy Thomas eventually takes Stan Lee's job. You know, not maliciously. Stan Lee handed it to him. Stan Lee went to Hollywood to try to get Hollywood to recognize comic books. So here we have this is a Kree Sentry. I think they showed one in the Captain Marvel movie, or one of the Marvel movies. I think they showed a flash of a Sentry robot, but these are super powerful. And the Fantastic Four first encountered a Kree Sentry robot a couple of years early and battled them to like a standstill, and that just established the power of the Kree. The Kree is supposed to be the most scientifically advanced race in the Marvel universe, and here we have Captain Marvel battling him. I love Gene Colan's artwork. It's kind of blocky and scratchy, but I think due to the Vince Colletta inks. But when you have a like a different inker, or he's inking himself. It is just just fine art. And like I said, this was just an assignment to him, so I don't think it's his most inspired work. So here we have Mar-Vell shooting a blast, but he doesn't have any powers at this point. He's just a Kree, and he has like the Kree. I think a Kree warriors are like bred for like higher endurance and strength, and I think he has these wrist lasers that he's firing. My unit beam. He ignores my intergalactic rank as he ignores my warning blast. So he's supposed to be ordering this this sentry, as at this point he's still captain in the Kree militia. Now the backstory is Mar-Vell was sent to Earth, and he stole the identity of a dead scientist, William Lawson. So he's pretending to be William Lawson, and then Carol Danvers becomes his attaché, that whatever mediary between the whatever scientists needs and the Air Force. So like I said, Carol Danvers was there from the beginning. So he's pretending to be the scientist, and his job is to survey the Earth to see if they are a threat to the Kree Empire. So he came to Earth as a bad guy, and now he's turning on them, and he's not quite all-out war with the Kree yet. There's still some plausible deniability. So he's adjusting his wrist blasters. So that's what he's doing. He's firing at him. So at this point, he just has stronger than a human, more durable than a human, and some wrist blasters. And I'm sure he has access to advanced technology. And the Sentry is just smashing everything. I think this is a cool costume. And he answers to Jan Rog. If you've seen the Captain Marvel movie with Brie Larson, Jan Rog was played by Jude Law. And I was really excited when I saw the casting, because I thought Jude Law was playing Mar-Vell, and instead they had Annette Bening play this character. And as you can see, it's like looking into a photograph of Annette Bening. So here's what is he doing? He's repairing the damage. Oh, you see, he is strong. He's picking up a steel girder, an I-beam. He's swinging it around, smashing the crap out of it. Crack! Giving the Sentry some crack. We've seen this ad a million times. Free muscle course that can add inches to your arms fast. These people, Larry Scott, Freddie Ortiz, Ricky Wayne, and Chuck Sipes, and Dave Draper. These guys will come to your house and beat the crap out of you, okay? Until they're satisfied that you're strong. So that's your motivation. Extreme violence or work. Look at this horrible spaceship. Look at that. I know you don't really need to be aerodynamic in space, but geez, come on. That is just awful. So here is a Jan Rog. He's got a blue. I forget the colors. I have proof that Jan Rog wishes to see Mar-Vell dead. Is this Carol Danvers? Oh no, this is Una. I forget what her name, but she was sympathetic. I think she was like a love interest to Mar-Vell. The Mendek. We must learn what happens. Yeah. So I forget her. I think she gets killed. So here she is scheming and conniving, trying to break free. And Quam, the Sentry, is battling. This fight, this epic fight between the Sentry and Mar-Vell is still going on. Thoom! And here's him fighting this, but just again, I think it's like pretty uninspired. This art, and again, I must stress that Gene Colan is an excellent artist. Just goes to show you when you're just assigned something and he doesn't have anything to prove. He was a bigwig at the time, so he's just phoning it in. Look, fellas, you could win your choice of neat prizes. And as proof of this comic was just about to get canceled at issue 17. It just never caught on. So at issue 17, Roy Thomas and I forget who the new artist is. They take over. And that's where they give Mar-Vell the red and blue costume with the Nova insignia on his chest, and they give him the power of flight and all that stuff. They revamp it, and then that goes on, and that almost gets canceled to the point where they finished the story in the Avengers. There was the Kree Skrull War that this title was leading up to, and then they've had to finish it in the Avengers because this comic was selling so bad. But they had to keep publishing it because DC was putting out Power of Shazam and wanted to reestablish their Captain Marvel. So they had to keep the comic in print, or at least the title in print. So then they tried a third attempt, and they got Jim Starlin, who was not a big seller, but he did Adam Warlock at the time, and he had a cult following. So he wanted cosmic heroes, so he gave him Captain Marvel, and he reimagined Captain Marvel as the protector of the universe. So at this stage, he was space alien espionage guy, and then he becomes a space superhero, just classic space superhero. And what he did was Rick Jones, I mentioned him. Rick Jones becomes his sidekick, and he tries to assassinate the Supreme Intelligence, the leader of the Kree, and they throw Captain Marvel into the negative zone as punishment. And Rick Jones somehow gets these negabands, and when he smashes the negabands together, Rick Jones and Captain Marvel switch places, just like Billy Batson and Captain Marvel. So he turns into Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel, so they can't exist at the same time. Then in the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards opens up a portal to the negative zone and frees Captain Marvel. And then that's when Jim Shooter takes over the comic, and Jim Shooter introduces him to Eon, this cosmic being. He's like this Lovecraftian, pulpy, tentacled horror show, and he grants Captain Marvel like cosmic awareness and cosmic powers, and he becomes the protector of the universe. And to me, that's where he really took off. That was just a cool third. And then that comic got canceled, but unfortunately, there was 5 comics already published after the cancellation at issue 63. So they rebooted the Marvel Spotlight comic and published those 5 issues. That was one of my first videos that I ever did, was Marvel Spotlight Captain Marvel. That was with Jim Shooter and Pat Broderick as the art. They're so gorgeous. So here we see this is Carol Danvers. So here she is. Where am I now? I was to get a good. So she was there from the beginning. This is Captain Marvel #1, and Carol Danvers is already established. That's Carol Danvers, the head of security for the Cape. But I can't let on that I know her for as Walt Lawson. Walt, I said William Lawson, so he's Walt Lawson. What are you doing here, young lady? No time for that. Now watch out. Your warning comes too late, female. Neither of you can now escape the Sentry. Maybe not, but we intend to try. So the Sentry throws down this punch, which goes Bakum, and it's so loud it goes into the next panel, because Bakum cannot be contained in one panel. You still live? Truly, not even the accursed Fantastic Four were more tenacious foes than you. So this is the same Sentry that fought the Fantastic Four. Then let's call this a truce and end this use. It cannot be, for I am programmed to destroy. That which I do, I must do. He was also programmed for dramatic English, apparently. So I like the bands. My Unibeam lens for maximum power. And if you ask me, this is paying homage to E.E. Smith's The Lensman series. It's because the Lensmen, they wore these lenses on their wrist that gave them powers. They wore costumes a lot like this with the crests and everything like that. The Lensman is pretty much unheard of today, but it was a big deal back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And so much so that the Lensmen were the inspiration for like the Green Lantern Corps. Even Star Wars borrowed a lot. And Jack Kirby took a lot from the Lensman. One of the things in the Eternals, maybe they'll show it in the movie, is that all the Eternals could combine and fuse together, and they formed the Unimind. Why am I talking about this in the Captain Marvel comic? And and they became like this ultimate mental being, and that was totally ripped off from E.E. Smith. The Lensmen, the Red Lensmen, they were the 3rd generation Lensmen. They evolved to the point where they could fuse and form a brain, and that brain was used to destroy their enemies, the Boscone. So here we go. Is Captain Marvel throwing a punch while shooting some energy, smashing the hell out of the Sentry. Brack. And I guess there's a force field up. get an axe, guns, just willy-nilly fire all this stuff. This is General Bridges. I've canceled my orders for air support because there are 2 human beings inside that barrier. So it's up to you, dog faces, and that carload of TNT you got. So the soldiers are going in, dropping off some TNT. So look at this panel, and look at this panel. I right away, I noticed that there's a marked improvement. Just the motion, the way he's subtly limping because he's carrying something heavy. I just like, so, Gene Colan didn't like the character of Captain Marvel, but I guess, but you could see like a glimpse of his true talent in these 2 panels. I especially like this panel. X-ray specs, get to see some chicks naked. So here we go. You see it's coming back, and then boom, it's Spacoom. These military guys. Nice eyelashes on that military guy, huh? This is panel 16. A lot going on. And here, I'm done toying with you. For now, you shall perish. Keep moving, girl. Whatever. Keep moving. If only I could use my jet belt. So he can't even fly. He has jet belts. So he has a costume that gives him all these powers. So here, going to step on, you see that foot. And what's going on with these guys? Oh, so they can't get through the force field. This is looking at them on the other side of the force field. It's nothing short of a nuclear explosion will get that. So they're just looking on at horror and hope and rooting for these 2 guys. Fighting. I guess what a lens is broken or it's in shadow. This isn't Marvel's best. I've been going through not Marvel's best. I gotta step it up, get some good Marvel stuff. So there's fighting going on. I don't know what's going on in here. And in a brief holocaust which flares for a mere instant, the Century Sinister claims the sole victim with its fearsome tirade itself. Okay. True man of Kree for another heart. Wait, the circuits inside my chest plate. Begin to draw and pull together. Yes, pull together by the magnetic charge which I gave my final blast. So he blasted with magnets and everything is being pulled together. A little plot power that was so big at the time, little power stunt. So here he's escaping with Carol Danvers. Jan Rog is a little pissed. I shall contact the home planet. So here he's sending a message into deep space, into the cosmos, and here's the swirling reaches of the galaxy. Hear me, Young Rog. That's Ronan the Accuser. You've seen him in the movie. I, Ronan, speak for the eminence, the Imperial Minister. Though you knew it, we have not. We have. Although you knew it not, we have monitored your displeasure. We have monitored with displeasure your recent action. I'm monitoring with displeasure my mouth right now. For the sake of a personal vendetta, you have endangered a mission of potentially vast importance. Seek not to defend, but listen. Mar-Vell himself is of no consequence. Do with him as you will, when the time is right. But if you again jeopardize your mission, you will face Ronan the Accuser. Ronan the Accuser, I don't know if they talked about the importance of him in the comic, but the Kree have I think they control like the M31, that little galaxy that orbits around our galaxy, but I mean, it's still a galaxy. They control that entire galaxy, and they have like hundreds of worlds, and the Supreme Intelligence rules. But the Supreme Intelligence is immobile, and it's just this computerized organic brain that gives order. But Rodan is the will of the Supreme Intelligence, and he's like the hand of the throne, like in Game of Thrones, the hand of the king, I guess. So he's one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. So when he says stuff like that, you tremble. So here is a. Strange, but I recall nothing from I must have entered some short-living sex. I think this is just as well. Thanks. This is the beginning. In the Marvel and the Miss Marvel comic, she had amnesia, but this is because this is 1968 and that comic came out in 1977. Can you stay? There are so many questions. No, I've already stayed too long. Perhaps it's only the security officer in me, but I wish I knew more about the helmeted stranger who rescued me. But somehow I feel certain that we'll meet again. Must reach a spot where I could shed my battlesuit as soon as possible, so I can return as Dr. Walt Lawson. Carol Danvers, the old man, the earthling, the soldiers, all look at me as a hero. What would they say if they knew that Captain Marvel may one day become a deadly menace? So he's becoming conflicted. He's trying to fulfill his mission to the Kree, but at the same time he likes the Earth people, so conflict of interest. And mail it to Marvel. So this is one of the rare instances where a first issue actually has a letters page, because the people wrote into Marvel Superheroes 15, and I think it was 15, 16, 17, and then they gave him his own spin-off. Just always like to look at the names. Brooklyn, Weber Falls, Bettina Helms. You see, so far there's like a woman in every letters page. And oh wow, in their own mags at last. So remember, I kept talking about how Marvel had two characters in one. So they had Iron Man and Captain America, and I think they had Submariner and the Hulk. And they're free now. They have their own comics. So this is Iron Man #1. This is Submariner #1 on sale now. And Norman Rockwell wants you to draw for him. And Grit. The Illuminante gave out the secrets of the universe and Grit, and we didn't pay attention. One of the viewers sent me a Wikipedia link, and supposedly Grit was like a super popular newspaper in like rural America, in small towns. So that's why I never heard of it. So this is Captain Marvel. There's a reason why it's, you never heard of it. This isn't a great comic. I thought the last third of the 60 issues or so was phenomenal, but there was a lot of dud. I bought all of these from a collection from a collector years ago, and I got like 50 issues all at once, and then filled in the spots that I was missing. And then I sat down and I just binged read them, and I remember next to nothing with the exception of the later issues. So it's kind of, and the sales bore through. It's not that good. It got canceled twice, but because of the name Captain Marvel, that they wanted to retain the copyright, they kept it artificially in production. And they're doing that now with the Carol Danvers series. It's not selling well. I think it's only selling like 5,000 copies. Back in these days, if your comic went below 60,000 copies, you got canceled. 60,000. Nowadays, if you sell 60,000 copies, it's a success. But people aren't reading comic books anymore. But that's neither here nor there. So this is Captain Marvel. I hope you liked it. I know this. I kind of view this. My premise for this channel was that I was going to take out comics from my childhood and talk about them and go through memory lane and just drown you all in nostalgia. But I'm starting to think maybe I should take out like important issues and talk about like important comic books in key issues in comic book history. And since I've been thinking about that, it would be remiss not to talk about this comic, even though it's not that good and it's not that memorial. Although I do love this cover and I do love that costume. So there you go. Let me know. Do you want more nostalgia, or do you want me to talk about more important things? And I think it's time to talk about the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I'm looking, and my collection isn't as organized as I thought it was. I was looking for Crisis on Infinite Earth. I pulled out the box where it should be CR, and it was H. So, all my lids have numbers on them, and so they're all mixed up. So I guess when I moved, things got mixed up. So I just got AC down here, so it's not sweltering super hot. So now I can do the heavy lifting and move boxes without murdering myself. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed my ranting and raving from a lunatic. All right, bye-bye.